The mystery of when Saint Lucia's next general election will be is perhaps the most controversial that this bit of political minutiae has been out of any other election year in recent history. Interestingly, Saint Lucia's next election is constitutionally due by July 2026, so at least until a date is announced, it can very well be said that the next election year will be starting next month. Political historian Earl Huntley says that the Prime Minister and the political leader of the Saint Lucia Labour Party may have a particular objective and end in mind on which the date of elections is dependent.
He'd have to assess whether the what he has done, let's say in 3 years or 4 years, is enough. And you say that is enough, but whether he has sold his it's okay to deliver and do things. People forget, and you have to keep reminding them. Has your communications been effective enough? There's so many things he has to take into account. But in the end, his own political judgment, his own political experience will determine when he calls it.
Any wise government would time an election when the opposition seems to be in a disadvantaged position. Huntley suggests that this may be part of the political leader's considerations.
Because you have to assess, for example, what is the opposition like? If I go to the full fifth year, am I giving them more time to consolidate and to build up, right? Or if I think I have done enough in 2-3 years, like Mia did,
and then kick the dog when it's
down, and she gets another, repeats the 30. So a lot depends on how the leader will assess it from his vantage point.
He pointed out that there have been thrusts in certain countries to ensure that the election date is fixed, thereby maximizing the impacts that governments make per term instead of a prioritization of its upper hand over the opposition.
There is a move in some countries in constitutional reform to fix the date of elections. So you have it for 4 years or for 5 years, and on the 5th anniversary you call the elections. So that means you have to work as much as possible. So he may feel, even if I have 15-2, I still may not have, he may have in his mind a certain target or objective he wants to reach. And maybe he has not reached it in the 4th year, he may reach it in the 5th year. It's difficult to tell, being away from it, when we would call it.
The only moment in independent Saint Lucia's political history where election dates were more controversial was the nation's 3 elections in 3 weeks during 1987. Even that, Huntley says, was by the deliberate and strategic calculation of John Compton's leadership and experience.
Calls the election in 87. He wins 9-8. And I can remember the differences within the constituencies were close. Right? And so he calls it again right away. Parliament is open and it's dissolved on the same day that it is opened. And he goes back to the polls a month later and people come back and give him the same result, 9-8. And I'm sure he made that judgment based on his long-term political experience. Look, I can do it again. So it really depends on circumstances, on the leader's judgment. It depends on a lot of things.
Huntley notes that Philip J. Pierre is Saint Lucia's most politically experienced first-time Prime Minister. Therefore, by Huntley's estimate, there is no shortage on Pierre's part of careful consideration given to the timing of Saint Lucia's next general election. And for the rest of us, without as much experience and oversight, the Prime Minister's rationale might as well be as much of a mystery as the election date. For Choice News Now, I am Cianna Dalsan.